VOD ends here. Okay, so now we'll have the intermission, where we read about Big Fish. According to director Tim Burton, it was the death of his father that led him to make this highly personal piece, in which young hero Will revels in his dad's fantastic tales, only to come to resent him as he grows old enough to realize that they're nothing more than wild flights of fancy. The movie explores the conflict and eventual reconciliation between a father who seemingly couldn't help embellishing the truth, and a son who's desperate to understand him before it's too late. Big Fish stories might be bad enough, but when you consider that the Big Bang was a term originally intended to imply that the story of the origin of the universe was nothing but hot air, you start to think that all existence might be one tall tale. Oh fuck, I now have to fix that. There we go. Eggshell carving. Eggs are fragile things. Drop one and it'll break in an instant. Eggshell carvings are delicate etchings made on brittle surfaces of their shells. These carvings originated in ancient China, and their depictions of flowers and birds are believed to have been intended to celebrate births and weddings, at which they were given as gifts. They symbolized the fleeting fragility of life and the delicate miracle of birth, and even a legendary porter would need great exercise would need to exercise great care when carrying one. Glasscraft. Glass is famously fragile, a brittle substance which can break down at even the slightest impact. But there are those who say that that it is in fact a liquid. Observe a piece of ancient glass and you'll see that it flowed downward, just as if it had melted. In other words, it is a mysterious material that behaves like a liquid, but can also be shattered in an instant. It's these characteristics that make it both an artist's dream and a porter's nightmare. Death Stranding, Low Roar. 12-inch of the soundtrack of the legendary video game Death Stranding, featuring tracks such as I'll Keep Comin' and Easy Way Out. Listening to it is sure to send soul-soothing oxytocin surging around your system, and by the time it's finished, you'll be holding hands with anyone who happens to be beside you. Game director Hideo Kojima discovered the music of Low Roar by chance while browsing it in a record store in Iceland, and went on to use I'll Keep Coming in the first trailer for the game, a perfect example of the strands of fate doing their work. Dawn, Silent Poets. The first original album in 12 years from Silent Poets, whose song Asylums for the Fleeting was used in the 2018 E3 trailer for Death Stranding, Hideo Kojima himself said that upon hearing their album Dawn for the first time, the image of Sam striding through the wilds came immediately to mind. He subsequently contacted Silent Poets personally to ask them to be part of the project. Upon the trailer's release, the public response was equally enthusiastic, and Silent Poets hit the charts worldwide. Incidentally, the band is the solo project of musician Michiharu Shimoda, who also runs a catering company which looked after the Death Stranding team more than once during development. Another strand of fate at work. Boop, 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 boop. An Unknown Man's Journal, Part 1. The Secret Confessions of a Certain Someone. Access the interviews menu to learn more. Yeah, we got nothing else there. We're gonna go a bit different in our structure this time, and I'm gonna apologize for that. Because, I want to do the interviews first. They seem to be, frankly, more interesting. But the emails are more pertinent, if that makes sense. The Evo Devo unit, by Hartman, about a year ago at Hartman's lab. It seems a rather significant breakthrough has been achieved back at headquarters. They successfully integrated an Evo Devo unit into a chiral printer. In case you're not familiar with the term, Evo Devo refers to the evolutionary development biology. Your genes, mouse genes, dinosaur genes, the genes of every living being are virtually identical, and yet we develop into such radically different organisms. Thus the question arises, why did such disparate life arise from the selfsame building blocks? Evo Devo was the field of study that sought to solve that mystery, to lay bare the secrets of evolution. Before the advent of Evo Devo, it was thought that in order to reconstruct a dinosaur, it would have to require a sample of its DNA. However, thanks to this technology's ability to extrapolate from existing data, we could, with the correct stimulus, grow a dinosaur from the DNA of any living organism. We could, in essence, recreate the process by which dinosaurs evolved from primeval life forms. An Evo-Devo unit applies these same principles to the problem of information and object reconstruction. With the help of the chiral network, we may take incomplete data, and indeed incomplete objects, and reproduce their complete forms. The data that can be fed into a chiral printer, et voila, partial data yields finished product. The tech isn't viable for everyday use just yet, but when it is, it will be of incalculable benefit to our research and bring our reconstruction efforts forward by a matter of decades. Repatriates and Void Outs from Hartman about 3 years ago at Bridges HQ. I've come across a number of old reports which make mention of humans with certain powers that have led them to becoming known as repatriates. As we know, when a human and BT come into contact, a void out results, which is analogous to what physicists would term an annihilation event. These events occur where matter meets antimatter. The mass is converted violently and abruptly into energy. The process is highly efficient, though some energy is lost to the production of neutrinos. Similarly, in a void out, vast amounts of energy are released, resulting in destruction on a devastating scale, which leaves behind a larger crater. Void outs are triggered by contact with repatriates, however, consistently result in smaller craters. It is suspected that this is because energy is lost to the beach in the same manner that it is lost to the neutrino production in a conventional annihilation event, and in the case of repatriates, the amount of energy lost is particularly high. That said, how the repatriate's body survives intact is a far bigger mystery, and one which I will refrain from commenting on until I have had the chance to examine one in the flesh. A notable repatriate is Sam Strand, a former member of Bridges One notable repatriate is Sam Strand, a former member of Bridges who left... Oh, no, I'm sorry, this font fucked me up. Bridges 1, who left some years ago and has been making his way into the world as a porter ever since. I do hope I get to meet him someday, considering how invaluable he could be to advancing our understanding on the true nature of beaches and the Death Stranding. I'd like to apologize for that one. The Chiral Network 2, from Mama, about 3 years ago before the first expedition's departure, at Central City HQ. In a way, the Chiral Network makes use of the beach to allow us to travel through time. See, sending large amounts of data takes large amounts of time, as you'd expect, but the thing about beaches is, well, time doesn't pass the same way in them as it does out here. It might not even pass at all. Think about how lights from the stars in the sky we see were produced thousands of years ago. Routing data through the beach is like jumping to a point earlier in that journey, thereby cutting it shorter. Much shorter. Just imagine, massive amounts of data transferred almost instantaneously. That's what we're trying to achieve with the Chiral Network in a nutshell. In theory, the network allows us to reconstruct old data that would otherwise get lost, and to do so with fragmented resources. Using what's known as Evo-Devo analysis, we could use the finger bone of a dinosaur, say, and extrapolate from that not only the dinosaur's form, but its composition, internal, external, even its thought processes. Thank you, Bray. To a degree. Anything's possible with chiral computing. In other words, we won't be able to reunite a nation. We won't just be able to reunite a nation. We'll be able to reclaim everything we lost in the Death Stranding. More even, theoretically, we could go back as far as the birth of the planet and beyond, and thanks to the beach, we'll be able to compile all the data in one place, and reduce the processing time for an event in almost complex analysis to effectively zero. Preppers from Fragile about 2 years ago at Lake Knot City. When I was a little girl, my father told me that preppers were people who decided long ago that they couldn't trust their nation to be there for them anymore. That the bonds between us have grown weak long before the Death Stranding. We once had a network spanning the whole wide world that could send items from anywhere and everywhere. and connect anyone with anything. But still, we were isolated. Still, we were alone. Some liked it that way and isolated. Still, we were alone. Some liked it that way and even wanted more. They wanted walls along their borders, wanted to turn away refugees and outsiders. Some even wanted new nations all their own. They began to see the state as an enemy for their freedom, not a protector of it. The ones most far gone, they didn't trust the country to defend them if something really went wrong. War, terrorism, natural disaster, you name it. So they built Fuck me running. They built shelters and stocked full of supplies in preparation for the worst. And then the worst happened. The Death Stranding. America ceased to exist, and their shelters became their homes, where they would live and they would die. But while they'd prepared, they hadn't prepared to live there forever, which is why they wound up relying on us couriers so heavily. My father and I didn't want to go back to the old America. We didn't want a country that pushed people apart. We wanted one that brought them together, that allowed them to support one another. And that was what we tried to work towards. The lake at Ground Zero from Victor about 2.5 years ago at Port Knot City. When I first laid eyes on the lake here at Ground Zero, I was blown away by the sheer size of it. I never imagined anything could be so huge. This was just after the Death Stranding, and not many people had seen the craters up close yet. Back then I was still living with my parents and my brother on the East Coast. An explosion like nothing the world had seen before tore a gaping hole in the heart of America. There were all kinds of rumors floating around that time, that it was a meteor, that it was a nuke dropped by another country. I was just a kid, but even I could tell the adults didn't have a clue, so you can imagine how I felt. And then we found out there had just been other explosions, not just here in America, but the world over. By the time we learned that they were void outs, and what void outs were, the country was pretty much done. But hey, that was then, this is now. Things are looking up. I got told my kid brother's still alive. Word is, he's heading up to corpse disposal team in Capital Knot City. Handle his shit well enough to get picked for the second expedition. 3 more years and he'll be out here with me. Can't wait to see him again. Oxytocin. From Victor, about 2.5 years ago at Port Knot City. Back before the Stranding, people couldn't rely on smart drugs like oxytocin so much. Probably because they weren't so damn isolated. Me and my brother Igor, we got separated from our folks after the first void out. Shit was crazy. I was just a kid, but he was even younger. Too young to have to go through all that. Spending time after night holed up in those ruins. It was rough, but we had each other. Held each other close to stay warm, and made things better. Docs would tell you that's oxy doing its thing. Hormone body releases when we touch each other. That's why mothers form bonds with their kids when they hold them and other stuff like that. But with the comms networks, not what they were. It's more dangerous than ever to go outside, and even when you got other people around, they don't seem too keen on making physical contact. Collective aversion due to ingrained fear of BTs and void outs, or so I've been told. Add it all up, and you got yourself people that's isolated, scattered, stressed out, and insecure. So we got no choice but to supplement our oxy levels, fill the void left by physical affection with chemical TLC. Pretty fucked up, am I right? I know we used to go to war over race and religion and all that back in the day, but fuck. That had to be better than living like this. Prepper interview, the engineer, about 2 years ago in their personal shelter. My horizons ain't exactly broad. That said, I'm not completely cut off from the outside world. I knew what Bridges was, and that they've been trying to rebuild America, but you're living down there. When you're living down here, it's hard to see how that's going with... how that's got anything to do with you and yourself, am I right? My folks holed up in the shelter after the Death Stranding. Had a kid and raised him in this slice of paradise, and together we'd lived off whatever Fragile Express was kind enough to bring our way. He told me tales of the good old days, but I had never had much of an imagination. Couldn't see how a country long gone has any concern of me and mine. Far as I figured, Fragile Express was happy to keep bringing us stuff. We didn't need anybody else, and we certainly didn't need America. Whatever that even was. But then, one day I was looking at a part of this machine my dad and I put together. my dad had put together. He was an engineer too. And I noticed something. Made in the USA. Right there in tiny print. Got me to thinking that America might not exist anymore, but the stuff Americans built's still around, making our lives a little bit easier even now. You could say the old country lives on in its works, kind of like how my folks live on in me. They, died a while back. Anyway, if they were American, I guess that makes me American too, and maybe the shelter a part of it all. Once I realized that, I started putting my heart into building things to help you guys put the country back together. Terrorists posing as fragile express couriers from the Craftsman about a year ago in his personal shelter. The terrorists have been at it again lately. You heard, right? About how they've been sneaking in and out of our cities disguised as fragile express couriers? We'll have another disaster on our hands at this rate, but it's not like we can just cut them out. We need Fragile's people to keep on just doing what they're doing. Rely on those guys for a lot, though maybe we shouldn't. Heard they're transporting weapons now. Why'd they be so stupid, I can't imagine. Spreading shit around like kills in a world where the dead are ticking BT bombs. Sure, terrorists are a threat, and mules a royal pain in the ass, but that genius figured escalation was just the way to go when we all know where it leads. We need weapons. No, tools that can take out the bad guys without killing them. We need hardware in circulation gone yesterday. We can't keep folks from dying in accidents or getting sick. We can't keep them from dying, period. But the deaths we can put off, we oughta. Violence ain't just ugly, it's damn near suicidal in this day and age, which is why I'm looking to make a bunch of less than lethal gear, in the hopes that it'll prevent a few idiots from getting themselves and others killed. Unknown Man's Journal, number 1. Writing year unknown. Don't know where from. Today I made a delivery to a shelter near Middle Knot. It was my longest trip to date. New personal best. Back when I was starting out, people tried to warn me off the life, saying it was too dangerous for proper youngins to make runs, and that no one would ever really trust me, but what was I supposed to do? Kids without parents need to eat too, and it's not like I had any skills. Well, 2 arms, 2 legs, whole lot of grit. That's all I had to offer. Worked out okay so far. Bring people what they need, and in return, they do right by me. The more deliveries I make, the more orders I get. Never report her around when you need one. So long as they don't fuck up too badly, someone ought to throw you a bone. Helps that I got a 6th sense for BTs too. Pretty rare, that. It's probably some of the reason why I get so much work. Sometimes people praise me, tell me I'm doing society a service by helping my fellow man. Can't say that factors into it. I'd sooner keep myself if I could. Sorry. Let's do that again. I'd sooner keep to myself if I could, but I gotta survive somehow. And I sure as hell ain't gonna manage by myself. Journal 2? No clue who, no clue when, no clue where. Another prepper's kicked the bucket. I went to deliver his medicine as usual this morning, but guess I got pretty damn late. Poor guy wasn't just dead, but he was on the verge of going necro. Wasn't no time to take him to an incinerator, so I'd just dump him in nearby BT territory. Better than leaving him pop. Especially since my own shelter's close by. Gotta look out for number 1. When I dumped him, though, just before he popped, it was like I could feel the BTs reacting to the corpse. Saw the beach, too. Strangest thing, but I felt it before. When I first disposed to someone. The sensation was stronger this time, though. No doubt about that. Don't know if that means I got dooms, but starting to think there's something special about me. Number 3. No clue who, no clue when, or where. A delivery outfit headed west heard tell of my BT sensing abilities. Has expressed an interest in bringing me on board. Seems they operate outside Bridges' sphere of influence, and they want to leverage my expertise and know-how to expand their operation. Could be interesting. Funny. Started making runs out of necessity to stay alive. But all that's changed. I'm an altruist now. I live to help other people. Preppers around these parts rely on me. Hell, they wouldn't last 5 minutes without me. What would my daddy say if you could see me now, huh? He taught me man's his own keeper. But here I am, part of a community, working with other people, bringing the world together. Daddy always told me that the wide, wide world was dangerous, that we had to stay in our shelter, spend our whole life here, die here. Well, fuck that. Community is what it's all about. Number 4. No clue who, no clue when, no clue where. Buddy of mine died today. He was out in the mountains on a delivery. It was so goddamn foggy. I guess he lost sight of the trail. Called me asking to help. But when the line went dead, I saw the void out from here. Nearly blinded me. Guess he wandered off to BT territory. Ain't many of us porters left these days. Not many you could trust getting the job done anyway. Folks quitting or dying, going mule. Attrition's a bitch. If we're to keep going on, we're gonna need to get better equipment. Someone else who can track BTs. I can still manage sometimes, but my power's getting weaker. I can feel it. Just wish I knew what to do, because at this rate, I'm fucked. We all are. That's all our interviews today. Now we've just got mail. Here's the mail, it never fails, it makes me wanna wag my tail. Anyways, Victor Frank, Port Knot City, reestablishing shipping lanes. How's it going, Sam? So, you put Port Knot back on the map. Not bad. Folks around here seem pretty pumped about becoming part of the UCA and all that comes with it. Carl printers especially. You should have seen their faces when I gave them a demo. It was like I was conjuring equipment out of thin air. Oh, and before I forget, I should thank you for all the stuff you brought. For taking care of that BT, too. You've given everyone a shot of inspiration and courage to carry on. There ain't much more that's precious than that these days. There was a time that I was so shit scared of BTs that I just wanted to shut myself away and hide forever. But that's not an option. I know that now. We're on the front line here. Bridges ain't gonna make it all the way west if we don't step up our game. But don't worry. We won't let you down. We'll get Port Knot City back on its feet in no time. I won't take up any more of your time. That's all I had to say, anyway. A couple of the guys wanted me to write to make sure you knew we had your back. Come on, May. We won't be throwing in the towel. Same goes for you, right? Nick Easton, Capital Knot City. Weird glowing object in Capital Knot City. Hey, Sam. You heard the latest rumors out of Capital Knot? People have been seeing some kind of weird glowing thing up on the rooftops near the isolate ward. Seems it's a Ka. Part of a human that doesn't turn into a BT. That's what people are saying, anyway. Apparently, they were a common sight back in the old days. Back before the Stranding. I mean... Story goes that they were lost souls, wandering around. My pals tried to take a closer look. See what's what, but he couldn't find anything. I'm sure you could do better if you put your mind to it, though, right? From William Lake, Lake Knot City. Don't keep the others wait. Hey, Sam. Can't tell you how good it was to see you coming out in the winter. Sorry. Oh, dyslexia, hello. Can't tell you how good it was to see you coming over the water on that boat. First time we welcomed so much as a turd in, well, it must be 2 years now. Some folks are even saying completely east to ground zero must have been wiped out completely. The occasional message drifted in from HQ, but people? Not a one. We'd have given up on a Cupid ever showing up. We'd have given up on the Cupid ever being finished. Non-second working Cupid to boot. Our knight in shining armor. Sorry, don't mean to sound like I'm not grateful. I am, more than you know. Every single person here was waiting for something like you to come along. And there'll be more waiting west of here. A lot more. You best go find them. Ludens fan. Order. Delivery to Port Knot. Sorry, Sam. I know you're a busy man, but I need you to deliver something to a guy named Victor in Port Knot. It's only right he has it, not me. It's unique too, so Carl printing's not an option. If you could do the honors, I'd be super grateful. William Lake, Lake Knot. All about preppers. I made the rounds with the local preppers when I first arrived here at Bridges 1. There should be some interviews floating around the records team transcribed. Take a look if you get the chance. We were mainly sounding out about the situation on the ground and trying to convince them to join the UCA, of course. But we already suspected that they weren't the type to follow the herd. Why else would they be out here? Still, found a odd community-minded soul among them. Not all were holed up in shelters by choice. Some of them are running from something. Others have been just born into that life. Getting the few we did throw their lot into the UCA was a pain in the ass, though. Didn't help that the chiral network wasn't up and running back then, neither. All we could do was put the parts in place and promise that they were going to work someday. Now they finally do. Thanks to you. Could be skeptics might finally come around now that we can all show as well as tell. You keep up the good work, you hear? Get us all back on the grid. William Lake Knott. You gotta go the extra mile. Thanks, Sam. You really came through for us today. Now you can tell me to mind my business if you like, but couldn't help but notice that you've been getting better delivery evals lately. Looks like you know how to stand to gain if you go the extra mile, or do ya? Find the extra bit of service to make people happy. That miscellaneous grade is the most important part of the whole eval system for you, right? Speaking of happy, I just remembered the time you first came here, after crossing Ground Zero. True. Successfully delivering cargo to its destination is your job, first and foremost. But people are demanding. They don't just know their shit carried from point A to point B. They want a little more, you know? Special treatment, something that'll put a smile on their face. Hey, I get it. It's a lot more work for you, tracking down lost cargo, returning items to their rightful owners. It's not really part of the job description either. But you better get used to it, because standards are changing, and people are only gonna expect more from their porters. Anyway, it's usually worth your while. Going above and beyond is a good way to rack up plenty of likes, and hell, sometimes you end up doing it without even realizing you did. I'm serious. Next time you complete an order, take a closer look at your results. See if there isn't a little symbol next to your likes which indicates that you get them for performing tasks related from the miscellaneous grade. You might be surprised. It may all seem like a hassle right now, Sam. Having a good miscellaneous grade will get you more likes. You can never have too many likes. George Baton, Way Station West, sending you likes. Still keeping on, Sam? Me, I've been practicing going outside longer and farther each time. Thought I'd conquered my fears at one point. Thought I'd be making deliveries like nobody's business before long. That was before I wandered into mule territory for the first time. Panicked and dropped damn near everything I was carrying. Guess it belongs to them now. That little hiccup aside, I've managed to put a few signs and watchtowers and other stuff I figured guys like you might appreciate, so it's not like it's all bad. Haven't met any other porters face to face yet, but I can tell they're liking what you've done, as in, they've given me likes. Oxy and smart drugs might help to level me out, but I tell ya, when someone hits that like, it's a feeling like no other. A confirmation that you've made a positive difference in someone's life. It's just grand, man. Anyway, good luck with everything. Sending all the love and likes. Benjamin Hancock, Distro Center West. Far apart, but always connected. Dear Sam, thanks again for all your help. Chiral Printer's still running like a dream, and kind of feels like one too. See it, all the new buildings popping up out here. Hadn't solved all our problems, of course. Nearly Wasteland's still crawling with BTs, but how we can obtain a good chunk of our supplies via the network, and they can't interfere with that. Think we're connected, even all the way out here. Didn't used to think it was such a special thing. Whole world was one big network back before Death Stranding. Video, audio, text, every bit of information was available from one and for one and all. But now we've got one better. Chiral Network and the printer can now be used as intangible things. Well, in a way, welcome to the new America. Once we're able to send food and medicine too, you won't have to put your neck on the line for our sake anymore. Hope that day comes soon. Really do. Jake Wind from the Wind Farm, rebuilding America and beyond. Dear Sam, it's good of you to come visit us again. It can't be easy doing what you do on the body or the mind. Guess that's what makes you a legend, huh? Well, Whoever came up with the idea of sending comms via the beach is a legend, too. As far as I'm concerned, what kind of person even considers something like that? It's like whoever decided to try and tame lightning back in the day. To think someone looked at those violent flashes of electricity and said, I can control it, create it, and then they did. Maybe the beach is the same sort of phenomena. Something we can't get our heads around right now, but once we do, once we learn how to harness its power, it'll lead to a revolution that changes everything. Imagine if we could not only rebuild America, but make a better world than the one that came before. Craftsman. S2321. Porter's getting done. Hey, Sam. Did you hear? Well, the porters I hooked up with hermetic grenades took down a BT the other day. There was a sharp drop in chiralium density that coincided with this report, so there's no denying he got the son of a bitch. That's all thanks to you and the UCA. It's an exchange joining up. Sacrifice a little privacy, share a little expertise, and you agree to look out for us. A huge price to pay, but it's enough to help the cause. A tax, if we're being honest. We pay, we get protection. Contracts alone won't cut it. We're just free riders that way. Not giving up enough, but getting enough. And if you dodge your taxes, can't be surprised that there's nobody around to look out for you. Quid pro quo and all that. The info and tech I've received from Bridges just might be enough for me to start producing hematic grenades in bulk. If so, then who knows? Maybe we can just wipe out the current crop of BTs. Of course, there's a catch. Only your blood seems to work. Don't misunderstand. I'm not going to ask you to plead yourself dry. To be honest, I'm surprised we got as much as from you as we did. It's like you're donating a pint every time you take a break. Well, can't be easy, but we sure are grateful. Don't you forget it. The engineer, S2306. The commencement of Evo-Devo unit testing. I know it can't be easy out there on your own, Sam, but we need you to stay strong. I've started a few experiments with the Evo-Devo unit you brought me. So far, things are going pretty well. I'm not quite at the stage where I can perfectly recreate big objects, but I suspect it's only because the chiral network's coverage is still limited. More places you bring online, better my results, and most likely. Anyway, I'll be submitting regular reports on my progress to Bridges. Rest assured, I'll keep at it. Incidentally, I've taken an interest in the Ultra Deck lately. These days, people tend to associate them with BBs or think of them as BT detectors, but they were originally designed as more all-purpose scanners for the detection of people and various objects. Seems they've undergone quite a few changes over the years. By all accounts, many of the original features were cut at some point. One such feature would allow users to project holograms, which could be pretty useful. And another would utilize chiral connections to reconstruct past data for present-day applications. I don't believe these features are lost forever, though. If we keep expanding the network, someone's bound to take the initiative and create a new and improved version of them. Anyway, I've taken up enough of your time, Sam. We had to catch up in person one day. The Craftsman. Mules. Heroes or villains. Hey, Sam. How's the bowl gun working for you? Put it to good use yet? Listen. I come up with a few more ideas on the new gadget since we last spoke, and the chiral network makes it so easy to share data you can fabricate stuff pretty much anywhere. In fact, I might ask you to test run them for me sometime. It's in your interest, too. What you might think... what with you having to go up against mules and whatever other crazies are out there. But if you have to throw down, remember that mules used to be just like you. They were reporters when the world went to hell. People trying to help people. In all that chaos and confusion, would have been hailed as heroes if they hadn't gone batshit. That's what most people think, me included. Though I heard it might not be that simple. Might be that they started out as smugglers, and that's why that can navigate all sorts of hard country. Guys like that, well, something tells me they wouldn't be altruists at heart. Guess there's no way of knowing the truth of it now. Anyway, Sam. Doled out a few of those hematic grenades you brought me to some local porters along with some blood bags. If they work as advertised, then our people might just be able to stand up to BTs if necessary. Could be a new beginning in the whole community. And that's everything we have. I am having such a fun time, honestly. Give me 2 seconds, though.
Supply submitted.
Oh, these aren't what I think they are. I actually wanna... Can I check the map? Oh, I can. I can. Oh, return to map. Oh, that's weird. Okay. So, no, I can't do what I want to. So, that's our next part of Death Stranding. A game that I can't explain how much I fucking love this game. I'm having so much goddamn fun. Like, I know it's a slow game. I know it's like... I know it's got... I know it's probably not, like, the best viewing at all times. But, like, I don't know. I like its slower pace. I like that I can just, like... You know? I might be doing some things off screen. I won't be, like... How do I put it? I won't be, Hey! There's a kitten in my room. But yeah. Like, I won't be, like, doing anything off-screen that, like, you guys would miss. It'd just be like, oh, I'll do these basic deliveries that don't have plot significance. I'll do, like, things that'll make the playthrough go a little smoother. It was fun hanging out. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see. Who's live right now? A lot of people are live right now. A lot of people are playing good shit, too. With an open world games, there's some stuff you gotta do off screen. I don't even think that. I'm more saying, like, I want to play more Death Stranding, but I can't subject you to, like, a 10-hour session every time. So there's some stuff that I just wanna do. I'm gonna raid my good friend Jorah. Y'all would like her. She's great. She's fucked up. I love her. So yeah. If you stuck around for all that and enjoyed it, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. If you'd like to support the channel more directly, there are links below wherever you're watching. Things like the stream elements, tip link, the community Discord server, and the Throne wish list. Other than that, I've got nothing else except thank you to HelloFresh. We'll also put that there. Code POGHF13652 to get 65% off your first order plus free shipping, no matter how much you pay. Thank you for the stream. Thank you for attending. But yeah, we're gonna raid to Jorah. Have a good rest of your night. Thank you.